Like keep it on. All right, so we're connected.
Welcome to Fast Fridays presented by Maconi Setup Shop. Tonight, we're taking the legacy content of the Rally DPs and setting and letting them loose on the high banks of Daytona International Speedway. For those of you who haven't joined us before, Fast Fridays is a weekly series by Maconi Setup Shop featuring a varying car and track combination that is completely free to take part in. Yes, folks, I said free to come and race here in a broadcasted race. And remember, folks, you help decide the car and track combination every week by voting on the Maconi Setup Shop social media pages. So make sure to go follow along and vote for what you want to see next. My name is Jake Reeves, and joining me in the booth is David Cruitz. With Christian Hill is working the controls as our producer and using cameras by Dougie Beard. And David, this is a very, very fun track. We're expecting a very great race here tonight as the cars are getting ready to roll off. What can we expect here tonight?
As you mentioned, we're going to the Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing, but it's not going to be with a typical car combination. Instead of stock cars or anything of the sort, it's the Riley Daytona prototypes, legacy content. We don't see drivers race them all too often, but we got ourselves a packed crowd of drivers taking on the track here in Florida. 2.5-mile circuit for use ever since 1959, and the banking is massive. You have to walk up it, 18 degrees in the tri-oval and 31 degrees of banking in the corners. While they may feel narrower than a track like Talladega, four-wide racing is still possible all throughout, and tonight we might see a bit of that as we have ourselves a full-on night with the oval configuration, not the road. 3 green-white checkered attempts as well. If we get dicey, no tire limit, a full fuel load, it could become all about the cautions, or we could see some green flag racing as things get going in just a few minutes.
And 30 cars going to be taking the green flag here this evening. Sorry, folks, for being just a little bit late on the start of this bad boy, but we are getting ready to rock and roll, and hopefully we can get some of the names in this race to get you out there and let you know where everybody is at. But right now we got Colby Finley, and looks like it's Joey Masevich, the sponsored driver, one of the sponsored drivers, the second, I guess you could say, in command for the Maconi Setup Shop. He's going to be on that front row. And Brayton Laster, the pizza guy, one of those guys that helped me announce last week, I believe it was, when we had that awesome race at Iowa. He's going to be right behind him. Jeffrey Maconi's also in the field as we have a green flag, and Colby Finley and Joey Masevich still on the front row, basically looking like that they are under pace right now, but with the speed that they're going to be carrying right here, David, it's going to be a frantic 40 laps for these guys.
And still grabbing the gears as we begin our first 40-lap event here with the Riley Daytona prototypes. Masevich in the high side, going to get chopped up to the high groove, and it looks like so far the momentum's coming in down the back straightaway. Still rushing down the straight. Masevich with a minor advantage. The timing screen up on the left side now. You'll see Joey Masevich has the lead heading into turns 3 and 4. And this is where that high banking comes into play. You can see now going from the top side to the bottom. Joey makes the move, and he's going to take there the number 32 machine right there with. He's going to have himself the advantage by only 51 thousandths of a second. An extremely very small margin that is, with Matt Hale on his back bumper.
It looks like Hale's going to be pushed in the very good spot, but right behind him, Brayton Laster down on the bottom, looking 3 wide right behind him, as these guys are really starting to dice it up. And there you go, big pile up. Guys are flipping all over the place. We got cars everywhere. Someone damn near cleared it all the way to the lights over there in turn number 1 and turn number 2. Big pile up. Brayton Laster, one of those drivers involved. David, that's probably one of the biggest wrecks I have ever seen on iRacing right there.
Laster destroyed, not to mention guys like Bob Kern, Colby Finley, Ron Harrington, and Ronald Treyer also getting involved. Here's the instant replay to show you what happened on Maconi Entertainment, as it's big trouble early in the going. And you'll see drivers rushing through the apron already, guys going down to the grass, taking it back here as they come down to the tri-oval. We'll watch the lap and find out what really got things going. As you saw Brayton Laster in particular involved, he's in the number 25 tonight, and the first caution flies 2 laps in out of 40. Now we've made it to our third, and looks like already guys going 3 wide, and that's what might have set it off here. Already aggressive. Laster comes up, and multiple drivers in the air. One gonna go for a somersault, a few barrel rolls in between. Not to mention drivers going down to the apron and a nasty flip up top in the air, as you saw drivers rush down to the grass. Everyone going everywhere, and the big one already strikes at Daytona.
Yeah, and David, it got really, really tight over there in turn 1. Actually, Jason Riff, who was on the bottom of the racetrack, if we can get another shot of that, he was the black car right behind Brayton Laster. He came in to turn number 1 right there and just ever so slightly slid up into the pink car that was stuck in the middle, 3 wide, and then just straight up got him in the left rear, hooked him straight into Brayton Laster, and then basically all hell broke loose. Cars flipping, end over end, side over side, parts flying all over the place. I'm telling you, it was a straight up junkyard over there. But the good thing about this, though, David, is this something that we mentioned earlier. These guys still have that one faster pair that they will be able to use. The only bad part about it is you just burned that faster pair this early in the race on lap 3 of 40. Now you basically got to survive for the next 35 laps to even have a shot to try to win this damn thing.
And you mentioned the faster pairs. So many drivers going to need to come down to pit road. Looking right now at our timing sheet, Brayton Laster's 1 lap down. Ron Harrington is also on pit road. Jordan Babinger as well, and multiple drivers making their way in. So pit road's going to get especially busy as we go back into pacing. Joey Misevich has that lead. Matt Hale going to be second, and it's going to be Jason Rafe in third. After a huge wreck, John Garrett drives up to the top 5. So Garrett making some moves already. Another driver to keep a watch on. Sean Conklin now going to be in 7th, and Conklin in particular, one of the better drivers at Daytona, so keep a watch on him as the night goes on. Sure, he'll have a lot for the field as we keep things going. Pace car back on the track after a huge first early wreck, and that's not the first lap, but the first caution of the day. We do have a time limit on this event, 55 minutes, so if we do end up having several cautions in a row, we might exceed that time limit. Still pretty unlikely. The question is now, can drivers get in the rhythm and go for some longer green flag runs, or are we going to see consistent caution till the end of the race? That's the question right now as we ride on board with our leader of Joey Misevich. And look at how narrow that cockpit is. Very low to play with inside of the racing environment. As you'll see, the steering wheel telemetry is going to be right there with them, not to mention all the controls, but really a very narrow area and not tall at all from bottom to top. You're squished in there, and at speeds of over 170 miles an hour, it's a tight squeeze as drivers get set to go back at it in just a lap and a half's time.
And David, you know, we mentioned about these cars right here with the Daytona prototypes, if you will. These are actually legacy content that if you get an iRacing subscription, I believe these cars are actually free. So, I mean, hey, you get a free car out of it, but these cars right here, these cars aren't meant, honestly, David, to be going around a 2.5-mile racetrack, foot to the floor, bump drafting, all of that stuff. These guys are used to taking these cars and putting them inside the road course, that you would see for like the Daytona Rolex 24 and all this. We got Joey Misevich. We just talking about him a minute ago. He was the post or up front. He was the leader. Now he's going down pit road, maybe thinking about something right there. But I mean that's the key about these cars, because these steering boxes are so tight. They're more like I guess you could say like a next gen car for some of our NASCAR fans out there, to give you kind of a perspective of that. Next gen, those cars, the steering in them is just so tight. These cars, they're just about like that. So you're barely even moving the wheel when you're going through the corners trying to keep that car straight. So, wow, I mean, it's been a very entertaining first 5 laps right here, David. This is going to be awesome to see the rest of this right here.
Set to get back at this time by backstretch is now going to see it's going to be Matt Hale as your leading driver. And as you mentioned, Joey Savage is going to make it down low and go for his first pit stop of the night. Looking to do something different there, as it looks like Savage now going to be on pit road for a brief moment, gets back on the way. Brayton Laster 2 laps down, looks to now be getting back up the pace after a 3-minute pit stop. Jeff Maconi and Colby Finley respectively retiring from this event. They'll be scored as 26th and 27th when all is said and done. Now 24 drivers remain on the lead lap when we come through this time by. It's going to be William Hale, and it looks like now it's going to be Matt Hale tonight, with Jason Rafe up top and John Garrett third. Benjamin Macer, Michael Wiley, and Sean Conklin in close contention too, as they're set to get back at it this time by for the first restart of the night.
And, David just mentioned Jason Reff. He was one of those guys that was on the bottom that actually initiated the contact that happened and sent everybody basically into a whirlwind of a frenzy, basically making it a junkyard over there in turn number 1 and turn number 2. So this is going to be very interesting for these guys to see this guy up here on the front row. But Matt Hale and Jason Reff, here we go. Green flag back in the air. Hale gets a very good restart, jumps up in front of Ref right behind him. You got John Garrett and Benjamin Master back here right behind them, just trying to see if they can go through the gears, maybe get up here and have something for Ref and Hale. And here we go.
Drivers go through. My apologies there. It's already very aggressive. Jacob, tell you this much, as they go down the backstretch, how do you feel as they're coming through and already getting back to the 3-wide action?
I love it. If I was sitting in the car, I'd probably be scared to death and going to the back. But, I mean, look at this racing right here, folks. You could not see this anywhere else except right here on Maconi Entertainment for Fast Fridays. 3 wide as far as you can see all the way back through the field. I'm sure Joey Misevich is really rethinking his decision, wanting to pit at this point. We got him back here. We got him banging. We got door banging all the way back into 20th spot, give or take. But 3 wide all the way up to the front, as John Garrett in the 66 getting some help from behind by Michael Wiley, shoves him all the way to the front. We got guys up top trying to get runs. We got guys in the middle trying to get runs. All of it going on behind John Garrett, one of the ARCA guys that runs on the ARCA Menard series, leading here at Daytona.
John Garrett's got the advantage with some real-world experience in ARCA competition, as you mentioned. He knows what it's like to have high speeds, but not quite with this racing package in real life. Going at now about 164 miles an hour into turns 3 and 4. They're 3 wide, multiple lanes deep. You'll see that Miller machine take a 3 this time by. The battle for third is the first of the side-by-side action, and you'll see Benjamin Mazer going to be there with Mark Thrash. Bob Kern is with Sean Conklin, and William Salamone is also there as well. Your leader is now going to be John Garrett, and Michael Wiley in a good position himself as they come through this time by 8 laps in. Largely going to be side by side, if not 3 by 3 by 3, and a few drivers are backing off further in the field. And you're seeing a bit of smoke as drivers go up top, high side and low side as well, of course, being used. But you see those guys go running very close to the wall. They're really trying to get something going. They're even making a bit of contact. You'll see big contact there. Drivers go around, one up and over, cautions out for the second time, involving a multitude of guys. And it looks like, in addition to Sean Conklin, Salamone, Jeremiah Forbes, Bob Kern, and another big wreck as drivers run away for the second caution of the night.
Huge wreck right here, coming with 8 laps into this event right here, and all of it had some bad bump drafting, if you will. I think it all started right there with Bob Kern, one of those drivers. He wasn't the one that got upside down, was flipping all the way down through there. We'll figure out who that was here in a second. But basically, it was Mark Thrash. He jumped up in front of Bob Kern, tried to put the block to try to get the outside lane to advance. Kern got into the back of Thrash. The guy that was behind him got into Kern and just knocked him sideways, got into the left rear of Kern, spun him straight out. And then you saw it right there live right here. I mean, it was 3 wide as far back as you can see. I mean, it was basically a rolling roadblock with everything that was going on. It was just basically praying. I mean, basically, it was like Matt Kenseth in the Daytona 500. He just closed his eyes. Big ass wreck, just close your eyes and just pray at that point. That's exactly what he was thinking right there.
And looking at the overhead shot, you can see even when drivers begin to spin, one man going up and over, and the backside going to make contact, slamming each other. All the drivers pushing as hard as they can to make up spots, make time. And it's the downside of all aggression. Only 9 laps in, still the single digits right now. And there's one driver gliding through the grass right there, down to the apron, looking for overhead. Multiple drivers getting through in the infield section, now called the Le Mans chicane. And for the most of part, it is not many drivers with big damage, but still, that's only the majority. Some drivers getting a much worse piece of the pie, as some drivers indeed come down to pit road this time through. Cycle going to be back on its way, looking right now what looks to be Matt Hale and William Salamone coming to pit road together, which will give John Garrett the lead yet again. Michael Wiley's going to be second, and Mark Thrash has scored his third as the caution is out 10 laps in out of 40.
And, David, these cars right here with the Daytona prototypes, folks are probably looking at these cars right there. That's a great shot right there. Got that big wing right there on the back of that car right there. Obviously, you got the nose kind of curled in, if you will, but that wing, that's something that we really need to keep an eye on with these cars, because when these guys get spun out and they're going backwards at about 150 miles an hour, that wind is like, it's just like that wind just catches the wing, and the air and everything just catches the wing, and it basically just lifts the car completely off the ground. So that big wing, much like you would see on a NASCAR stock car, where the spoilers are kind of a little bit low. These guys has got wings on the cars, so the air gets up under that wing, it can just straight up lift the car completely off the ground, which I think is an absolute great car and track combination. I mean, right off the bat, I was like, really, Daytona prototypes on the oval? This is going to be kind of interesting to see. I mean, I didn't expect this kind of racing right here, honestly, David, because, I mean, we've seen it all so far. We've seen pack racing, 3 wide, cars flipping. We saw the big one very early, and folks, if you were late to the party on that, I mean, God help you on that. I mean, I'm sorry you was late to the party, but wow, I mean, we've seen it all so far, and we're only 10 laps into this thing. We still got 30 laps left, David.
Absolutely right. We have not even hit the halfway point, so if you think it's exciting right now, surely Fast Friday is going to keep on keeping on. And if for those who are watching, as you mentioned, on Maconi Entertainment, Fast Fridays, viewers decide where the drivers race every Friday night at 7 o'clock Eastern, and it's always a thriller here only on Maconi Entertainment. Over 25 drivers registered for tonight's event, and you could join the fun as well on iRacing. Check out iRacing.com for membership subscriptions at the price 40% off, and for the rest of the year, fantastic discounts, and it's Maconi Setup Shop, the official setup partner of eNASCAR, leads you through all the fun. Special shout out for Maconi Competitor Zone and all the Maconi Setup Shops divisions here in-house. It's the Maconi Entertainment crew leading you through. And the second caution, now on to our second restart, this time by looking off the back bumper of John Garrett, as he's your leading man. The pace car, the only driver ahead of him, and it's going to be a hard left turn for this iRacing sedan. And then again, we'll have a Riley Daytona prototype lead the field back to green. Been a thriller to this point, but we are still not even close to getting this one done. It's going to be a lot of development from here on out as the drivers get set to go once again.
And John Garrett, he will be on the front row. Michael Wiley, when they get back to the line, Michael Wiley's going to be second. Going to have Mark Thrash in third. Benjamin Massey will be fourth. Bob Kern, check it out. He was the one that got turned just a second ago that brought out this last caution. He's still sitting in fifth. He's up from 32nd all the way up to fifth, so good job by Bob Kern. Got Jeremiah Forbes. He will be sixth. Got Jason Reff. He will be seventh. Robert Johnson's going to be eighth. Gavin McCool ninth. Michael Davis is 10th. run through the leaderboard down here around the 19th spots where we see Joey Masevich. When, we saw him just a second ago, he was up front. He was leading. Then he pitted and dropped back all the way through this. So he's seen every bit of all this action going on back here in the back of the field. And for those of you that are fans of the Pizza Man, Brayton Laster, he is right now sitting in 22nd, one lap down. He's actually on pit road, probably eating some of that pizza that he was talking about earlier on. But pace car getting ready to pull down. It is pulling down. It's down to the pit road. Leave him in the hands of John Garrett and Michael Wiley. His green flag is back in the air. John Garrett does not get a good enough restart to jump up in front of Wiley. So Wiley's going to be door-to-door with him. Thrash will be right on the back of Garrett. You already see guys already slipping and sliding up, down, left, right, going around. Now they're going back, almost going 3 wide once again. But John Garrett still leads. Wiley trying to lead this outside lane, get a little bit of a push from Benjamin Masser up on the top side. But I'm telling you right now, Thrash is all over John Garrett's back bumper, shoving him as they go down to the end of the backstretch.
John Garrett with the advantage this time by takes him to the turns 3 and 4, and ever since, of course, that first caution, Garrett gaining that track position and using it to his advantage. This time by, he might not be the man to lead the lap, though, as you'll see the high side comes into play with some huge momentum up top. Now, Michael Wiley's going to drop down low and take the number 28 of Benjamin Masser with them. Benjamin Forbes, it's going to be both Benjamin Masser and Jeremiah Forbes coming through, which means that John Garrett now no longer the leader of his line, and now going to have to fight tooth and nail as the high side has a lot of speed through the straightaways, in particular on the front straightaway. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, 18 degrees of banking as the caution flies yet again. The reason, Jordan Babinger in the 14, Jonathan Platt involved, and Joey Misevich also caught up. So third caution in 13 laps, back of the field, Platt, Babinger, Misevich, and the yellow flag is out yet again. Looks like it's going to be a 3-car incident at the very least, and you're now looking at one of the injured machines as the caution flies once more.
And Babinger was upside down, folks. I mean, he got all the way up into the fence, got turned, went straight head first into the wall, and then basically tumbled all the way down the backstretch here at Daytona International Speedway. You'll see it right here on the instant replay. But Babinger, I mean, there it is. You see it barely right here. Here we go. Gets right here. Babinger, he's the one up in the wall. Gets spun right down and then bam, head on straight into the wall. Gets T-boned or tattooed, if you will, by another car. And then watch Babinger right here. Just basically somersaults end over end. Almost got it on all 4 wheels and then comes to rest on his roof on the backstretch. But, David, this is what we see in super speedway racing. This is what we see in pack racing, with this kind of racing. I mean, obviously you don't see it in a Daytona prototype because, we never usually see this except here on Maconi Entertainment with Fast Fridays. But I mean, it's common, to see, big wrecks like we're seeing right here, especially at Daytona. It's just crazy that we're seeing as many big wrecks as we are seeing this earlier on here in the race.
And a lot of early trouble, as you mentioned, and it looks like now Jeff Maconi going to be able to back on the track. And for a few of the drivers we saw earlier in the race, not so much any longer. Jordan Babinger, Brayton Laster, Sean Conklin, Colin Barnett, Ronald Schreier, and Colby Finley all retired now. Jeremiah Forbes, after that incident, is as well. So it looks like already a race of attrition, losing a few drivers along the way, and we've only just gotten things started. 15 laps in out of 40, set to restart at the end of lap number 17, and with the third caution of the day already coming through, maybe now we start to consider the timing of the session and not just the race laps. I mean, 40 laps at Daytona, not a very long time. However, we've spent 25 odd minutes in this portion of the night already, so if drivers keep it going that way, we might run out of time, which we have seen before in Fast Friday's competition. It could be the time of the event that is the limitation. and not the amount of laps. 15 laps in with your third caution. As it stands, it is still going to be Michael Wiley, the race leader, Benjamin Mazur in second, and John Garrett in third. And I'll tell you this much, Jacob, when we were looking at that high side, it had a lot of speed through the straightaways, enough to take multiple spots away from your former leader, John Garrett, and give it right back to the drivers who opted to stay near the wall. So maybe that's the move right now. That high side might be king on the next run. How do you think it's going to play out with all the multiple grooves being put together?
Well, David, you mentioned right there on the outside. Granted, it is the preferred line because that is where these guys are getting these major runs to be able to shoot and be able to extend themselves to get out to the front. But it's very risky up there in these particular cars, in these Daytona prototypes, because you're getting all the way up there up against the fence. If you barely even touch that wall, I mean, we've already seen so much bump drafting, so much hard pack racing with some of the guys way back there in about the 15th, 16th spot, which is basically where that accident started. I mean, they're back there, they're bump drafting so hard back there that if you just slide up just a little bit, get into the fence, the guy behind you doesn't have enough time to check up, and that's exactly what happened right there. But, the outside lane, I've made a lot of passes on the outside lane here at Daytona. I mean, you're not really going to move a lot on that bottom lane. That bottom lane is where it's going to stack up the most, even in the Daytona prototypes. It's going to stack up because everybody's going to have to check up to keep from running over the guy in front of you that you're already really running over him as much as you are. But the outside lane has the momentum, so that's exactly where you want to be in the later portions of this race. At least that's from where I'm sitting at and from where I have seen in previous race experiences. Like I said, not with a Daytona prototype, but Xfinity car, trucks, Cup cars, excuse me, or hell, even a Legends car. I mean, that's where you want to be. You want to be on the top side because that's where the momentum will be. But as you mentioned, Michael Wiley, he is up front. Benjamin Masser will be right beside of him. John Garrett. How about Andrew Thompson? Haven't talked about him all night in the 27 entry. Going to be fourth right here on this restart. Leon Kenningston. We haven't talked about him either. He's going to be up here in fifth. Mark Thrash, he's been through hell and back pretty much. He's sitting in sixth. Robert Johnson, seventh. Got Bob Kern, eighth. Lewis Russey will be in ninth. And Michael Davis, that's going to round out the top 10 as they are running right here, getting ready for this restart. Gavin McCool also 11th. We'll have Aaron Shiflett. That's a name that we remember from last week at Iowa in the street stocks. Send it Shiflett, I believe, is what Brayton Laster called him. He is 12th from 21st, and Kyle Brummett 13th. Ron Harrington 14th. Excuse me. William Salomon will be 15th, and then Joey Masevich 16th. Jason Riff will be 17th. Jonathan Platt will be 18th. He's the last driver on the lead lap. The rest of these guys look like they have retired from the event one lap down or more. So it looks like we got 18 cars getting ready to take the green flag right here off of turn number 4. And shout out to all the viewers this evening here on Maconi Entertainment. Appreciate you tuning in, spending your Friday evening with us here at Maconi Setup Shop, Maconi Entertainment here at Daytona International Speedway. Pace car is off. Michael Wiley on the front row. Green flag in the air. Benjamin Massard, not a good restart. But Michael Wiley got all of that restart, all he could get. He actually left John Garrett on this restart, so he's going to have absolutely no help. He's in no man's land. And here comes Masser with Andrew Thompson all over his back bumper, going to try to shove him to the lead as they come off of turn number 2.
Perhaps one of the most spaced out races we've seen in terms of these early restarts on Maconi Entertainment. More and more drivers begin to separate themselves from one another on these initial jumps. The first restart, everyone was packed together. Now, not so much. One distinct pack has formed up in front that takes your top 10. Then there's a bit of a gap to guys like the number 23 machine of Lewis Russey, not to mention Aaron Shiflett and Kyle Brummett all together. But they're now going to be to bunch up even further as they come across the stripe this time by Benjamin Mazur's got himself the lead with Mark Thrash right up top. They'll be close as they can get at the line. Advantage this time through goes to Mark, and that top side comes alive as they're going to go 3 wide for the race lead. One man down the middle, that's going to be Robert Johnson getting his first taste of the up front style as the 20 machine puts him 3, beating him banging by the wall, and the low side once again reigns supreme as they come down the back straightaway.
Art Thrash back here all in the bad spot. Basically led that last lap. Now he's dropping all the way back, going way back, if you will, back around the 12th, 13th, 14th spot. But up front, these guys are duking it out, trying to go for the lead as Benjamin Master down on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to keep it going. Andrew Thompson saw him. He shoved the driver all the way to the lead just a second ago. Here he is up on the top side trying to get going. And John Garrett, talked about him a while ago. He's right behind Thompson trying to get this outside lane moving. More drivers starting to jump up here, trying to see if they can build some momentum and get this top lane rolling. But down on the bottom, Benjamin Masters still has it lined up. Michael Wiley right behind him pushing, as well as Leon Keniston down on the bottom lane. They're able to stop this advantage on the top side as we see guys still slipping and sliding, trying to find a drafting partner. Wow, hard racing. These guys, they've seen 3 wrecks. They don't care. They are still driving their tails off up here.
And 3 wide, multiple lanes deep with even damaged drivers getting in the mix. And you'll see right now in the front ends of these cars, they can get pushed in and they can still be as quick as possible. We got the information you can hit drivers up to 15 miles an hour slower than you and keep on going. Even with that nose damage, drivers can remain in the draft, and these drivers have kept it going and they're getting warm inside the cockpit. Those engines might be on the verge of blowing away, drivers going right under one another. These Riley Daytona prototypes have the perfect front end to really dig under another driver and get things going with a physical push, not just some aerodynamic contact. And right now, that's what led that number 28 machine up in front. And so far, it's been so good for Benjamin Mazur with some great help on the bottom. It's been the best of the pushers leading the way up in front. Now, Leon Keniston's going to be in the 3rd place in the triple-digit threat. Look out for Leon this time, by as he fights for the race lead. Middle Groove comes alive with contact. One driver gets split around. Caution flies. Huge wreck over Bob Kern in particular. Not to mention Gavin McCool up and over. Looks like that's going to be a huge run down to the bottom. William Salamone involved, and the yellow flag is out at our halfway point. 20 laps in, caution number 4.
Bob Kern straight up got T-boned right there in turn number 3. Had a little help from behind. He was trying to push Shiflett right here on the top side. He just gets straight up turned and it just goes around. Basically looked like Tony Hawk's skateboard right there going around at a 900, maybe even a 1080. If I do say so myself. He went around very, very quickly. Everybody else trying to find a way to try to get around. And then Aaron Shiflett tried to get around as well. You see Shiflett's car right there way up in the air, just bouncing around like a pinball right now, bouncing around all over the place, end over end, side over side, bouncing around. More drivers upside down over in turn number 3 and 4. Wow, what a hard wreck. We've seen it all, right? We've seen cars everywhere. David, the only thing we haven't seen is cars actually leaving the track at this point. They've went as high as we can say at this point, or as high as we can see, but none of them's went over the catch fence. So all the virtual fans and all the virtual cars out in the virtual parking lot looks like they're going to be just fine. But wow, I'm telling you, we have seen some serious wrecks here this evening.
And some heavy-hitting wrecks with another driver retiring. That looks to be Louis Rusi parking it after a huge hit there. 1 lap down is Andrew Thompson. 2 laps down, Jeff Maconi. Caution flies once again now with 20 laps to go. And these first wrecks, these first 4 of which have been brutal for every driver from the front of the field on back. Of course, the guys who got caught up in the wreck the worst. But for the drivers up in front who've been racing clean, they just haven't had a chance to really show it so far with so many cautions in succession. So green flag racing at a minimum right now. And once again, a short blip of action up in front, broken up by a wreck. We're looking right now as drivers continue to fly down. This looks to be, in particular, Jeff Maconi, as Maconi's going to take it down to the apron, getting his laps back. And now finds himself only 2 laps down. So Jeff Maconi's got an outside chance to get back in the mix. Just has to get through a few other clean laps under caution and then get back on the way. 22 laps in out of 40. The triple-digit threat of Leon Keniston leads with a Benjamin Mazur in 2nd and Joey Masevich then in 3rd. Pit road got busy a few laps to go for some drivers such as William Salamone, John Garrett, Gavin McCool, Robert Johnson, and Aaron Shiflett all coming through that time by to get another cycle of service. Tires, fuel, no tire limit, and you can get as much fuel as you want. That's how it works here at Fast Friday, so drivers loading up once again, hoping to go for the long haul from this point on.
And Aaron Shiflett, one of those guys that straight up went end over end. I think he might have actually went and got a backup car, to be honest with you. Probably burned that fast repair that he was able to hold on to for this long. So, wow. But he's actually back out here. Looks like his car is just perfectly fine, basically like it was when the race started. So that's exactly what he needed. And as David mentioned, some other drivers dropping out of the event having to as well because of damage and because they probably have already burnt their last fast repair, and then they get caught up in an accident. And then basically these cars are very, very brittle, I guess you could say. These cars are not as tough, I guess you could say, as say a street stock like we saw last week at Iowa, or even like an Xfinity car or what have you. I mean, these cars, they are very, very brittle. These cars are not really, like I said earlier, these cars are really not meant for super speedway racing. But I'll say this, I mean, it's been a hell of a show so far, seeing every bit of it and seeing all the hard pack racing, seeing all the crazy things that have been going on. But Leon Keniston started 16th. He's up here in the front. Benjamin Master started 10th. He is second right now. Joey Misevich, talked about him earlier on, made a pit stop, went all the way back to the back, got caught up in one little skirmish, but then able to get back up here solidly right now, sitting third. Michael Wiley, he will be fourth. Kyle Brummett be fifth. Ron Harrington sitting in sixth. Then you got Mark Thrash started 26th up to 7th. Michael Davis 27th up to 8th. John Garrett, we've seen him up front numerous times, seen him lead this race a couple of times. He's mired back in traffic just a little bit in 9th. And Gavin McCool, he started 19th. He is up to 10th. But David, what do you expect here? Because I'm seeing, I think they're going to keep going. I think they're just going to keep on with this three-wide racing, keep on with this aggressive racing. But what are you thinking from your standpoint? What are you thinking we're going to see right here?
The biggest problem, of course, is I think I have to agree with you. I think we're going to see a lot more aggressive racing, drivers taking it 2 wide, 3 wide, and then some, but that also means we're going to see less racing if we keep getting the same result. A lot of aggressive driving leading to multiple cautions, and right now, I got to keep in mind the timing of the session. We are on the bleeding edge of losing out on going the full 40 laps. At this pace, we would not be able to hit lap number 40 without it being either under yellow or being shortened beforehand, so keep an eye out for the session timing. So far, 23 laps in, we've gotten through a total of 37 minutes here on the clock, and drivers are estimated to need 16 more minutes to get through under green to the end. Coming through this time by the iRacing official, pace car will drop down low and let the field get back at it. Benjamin Mazer and Leon Keniston lead us back to the green for restart number 4 on the night.
And Keniston gets a very good restart. Master, he actually probably laid back just a little bit to drop in behind Keniston, get on this bottom lane. Joey Misevich, he'll be lined up on the bottom, have one guy up top. Now he's blinking, comes back. That's Michael Wiley. He just blinked and came back out of absolutely nowhere. Kyle Brummett all over his back bumper. Top lane trying to get rolling as we got cars flipping in the back once again, and we got them wrecking after the caution. Guys flipping all over the place as once again caution is out. You see the time limit that David was talking about right here. 21 minutes left in this session. And David, I got to agree with you. If they keep on wrecking the way that they are right here and we keep having these cautions, I think we're racing against time instead of racing against the 40 lap mark.
Ron Harrington going to go around. He goes down a pit road. Gavin and McCool we're looking at right now also going to be destroyed. And as I've mentioned and as you have as well, this is another instance where we just can't get things going for a green flag run. Somersaults up and down the track for the number 4 of Gavin McCool. And you'll see right now with the freeze frame in play how disastrous that incident was for Gavin there. Ron Harrington also getting a very bad piece of the pie, and you'll see as they go 3 abreast for a brief moment, quarter panel to quarter panel to quarter panel, that's when the contact is initiated and immediately blown over high side of the track, and there's no stopping a car that gets the air. You're airborne, there is no way to recover. So Ron Harrington going to make contact, not to mention you'll see Gavin McCool. Now Harrington went spinning after the caution flew and got pulverized by the wall, and that's what brings out the caution. Two drivers spinning around with major damage alike. Harrington had to go down to pit road and tow it, while it looked like Gavin McCool was able to limp it home just barely for a fast repair.
And wow, I mean, just two wrecks basically in the span of one caution right there. I mean, I think what it was Harrington was getting pushed by Mark Thrash right there, and he saw the caution come out, tried to get out of the gas, and then Thrash probably didn't react as fast as he did. Straight up turned him straight into the fence head on. So Harrington not gonna have a hood on his car until he goes back down pit road. Tries to get that bad boy serviced, as you see right there. It's like that's Gavin McCool. He's going down pit road trying to get himself lined up. Hopefully he has a fast repair and he can get back out there and get it going. Hopefully be able to salvage something here at Daytona. But here we go, 19 minutes. Basically, that's what we're running against right now, folks, because they got 15 laps to go right here. Here at Daytona, they got about 15 laps to go. Actually, the boss man has actually changed it to 1 to green, so we're trying to get it in with the lap mark. But wow, I mean, the field is dwindling down very, very quickly. There was 27 drivers that took the green flag here this evening, and right now, 10 of them is not even on the lead lap. 17 of them is on the lead lap. Actually, that would be 16 with Gavin McCool still in the pit lane. But wow, I mean, that folks right there, that is what is left of a 27 car field right there after all, the craziness that we've seen here this evening. But Leon Keniston, he has been very, very clean. He has been able to keep his car very clean. Benjamin Masser, Joey Masevich, with a little bit of an instance that he has had so far in this race, he's been able to keep his car very clean as well. Michael Wiley, Kyle Brummett, got Michael Davis, John Garrett up here as well. Jason Reff, saw him. He was involved in the very first accident this evening. Aaron Shiflett, one of those guys got caught up in an earlier on accident. These guys all up here running inside the top 10, so they still got a shot to try to win this thing. David, I'll turn it to you right here. I mean, who's your pick to win this thing? I mean, I know it's a crazy question to ask at this point, but I mean, who's your pick to win this thing?
I think right now it has to go down to the guys who have been up in front all night long, and I have to say, of all the drivers who are here in this picture, I think Joey Masevich might have the advantage. He's got new tires, he's in the 3rd place, so if push comes to shove, it might be Masevich who breaks through, finding himself back there with the podium as we're set to go back green with 17 minutes or 15 laps to go. Green flags out once again here for the 5th restart of the day. A huge jump for Leon Keniston as he gets rolling before anyone else.
Keniston gets out to a very, very good jump. Benjamin Masser up top trying to get some help from Michael Wiley. Down on the bottom, Joey Masevich trying to see if he can get this bottom lane rolling, and he's all the way up to the back bumper of Leon Keniston. But up top, Masser gets a good shove by Wiley. Right behind him, I believe that is Michael Davis. Yes, it is. 3-car tandem all the way up to the top side. They are clear of Keniston. Will they drop down? No, they will not. But Kyle Brummett jumps up here. He's trying to go for it as well. Michael Davis up top trying to get going as they're slipping, sliding, beating, and banging back here, and we got another wreck. Guys all over the place. Basically a track blocker, and once again, the caution comes out once again here at Daytona.
It looks like this time by William Salomon going to be involved, Jonathan Platt, and as we've seen, consistent cautions back and forth. This is our 6th of the day, and now it's going to be even more troublesome to make it to the end, and this is the battle, cautions in time versus our lap count, and now, in specific, we're seeing more and more developments come through. Mark Thrash also getting a piece of it down to pit road as we're watching another driver drop in. Jonathan Platt just went in, so let's take a look at the instant replay before the wreck began and see what caused it. Here's another very similar incident with some drivers shoving each other to 3. Might have been some minor contact that kicked it off, and that it was. And that's when it begins, checking up once, getting that quarter panel contact, and you just can't afford to hit someone in the quarter panel at these speeds. You see them go up the track or drop immediately down, and that's where the trouble begins, as it's going to be nearly flipping over for one. William Salomon is going to disconnect and retire from the session. Cautions out for the 6th time, and now coming down to the final few laps, it's trouble again here in Daytona.
And race control has actually said that this will be probably from what I'm seeing, a single file restart when they go back green right here. So try to limit some of the I guess you could say some of the cautions that we're having right here. But to be honest with you folks, from what I have seen here this evening, I really don't think it's going to matter. I mean, they can put it as single file restart if they want to. They're going to get back to this 2 wide, 3 wide, all this going on. I mean, even though we have a very, very small field at this point, it's been narrowed down from 27 to, I'd say, probably about 12 at this point. So, I mean, I still think we're still going to have some 3 wide racing. You're still going to get an exciting finish here on Maconi Entertainment for Fast Fridays, because these guys know what's at stake. These guys know what is at stake to try to win at Fast Fridays. And I've seen drivers numerous times here try to get a win at Fast Fridays. I mean, guys will do damn near anything just to win a race on Friday night, for Fast Fridays here at Maconi Entertainment. But it's going to be a nail biter all the way down to the end. Benjamin Master, he'll be up front. Michael Wiley will be right beside of him on his outside. Michael Davis will be third. Leon Keniston fourth. Got Kyle Brummett, he'll be fifth. Joey Masevich being in sixth. John Garrett seventh. Aaron Shiflett will be eighth. Bob Kern ninth. Andrew Thompson, that will round out the top 10. Jason Reff also back here now coming off of pit road. Mark Thrash up here as well. And Jeffrey Maconi, we've seen him. He was about 2-3 laps down, give or take, David, and all these cautions that have happened, he's been able to get the lucky dog every single time. Just get a lap back. Just get a lap back. Just get a lap back. Just let them go up there. Let them wreck pretty much. And he's now found himself on the lead lap by the last time by timing and scoring, sitting in the 13th spot, as you see right there. Jeffrey Maconi now starting to slide up here with the pack. Get ready for a restart. It's Benjamin Master. He's waiting for it. And folks, I'm sorry. I thought they said it was going to be single file. Apparently, they thought different of it. They wanted to go double file. They want some more of this action here tonight on Fast Fridays with Maconi Entertainment. Is the pace car getting ready to pull off? Once again, Benjamin Master and Michael Wiley on that front row. Michael Davis right behind them. Leon Keniston saw him up front for a numerous laps. Hopefully he can get back there as the green flag is back out. Benjamin Master gets a very good restart. Michael Wiley right behind him. And here comes Michael Davis, Leon Keniston. Looks like they're going to try to get a 4-car train right here. Maybe try to break away from the rest of these guys.
And a small packet to be able to break away up in front, as you mentioned. Benjamin Master not seeing all too much competition for a while, but now he's got drivers on the high side trying to take that spot. Look up top, you'll see Michael Wiley fighting with Leon Keniston as well. Not to mention looking a few spots behind. John Garrett also in the mix, and so is Joey Masevich. So a lot of front runners getting back together with some side-by-side action. Top spot is going to be held on the high side, and now that second group and even the third lane come into play as we're 30 laps in out of 40 this time through. We're relatively safe to go all the way under green, but any other cautions could jeopardize that fact as 11 minutes remain on the board this time by. At the line, high side's going to give the advantage just barely to Michael Davis, new race leader in Davis with 10 laps to go. Find a few laps just ahead of us here in the Riley Daytona prototypes and the Daytona Oval. Not disappointing. Now time to find out whether or not these guys can win this race. Of course, one driver wins, but let's see if they can get there under green.
Michael Davis still has the lead, but here we go. Kyle Brummett up on the top side gets the shove from Joey Masevich, and we got another wreck. John Garrett gets spun, cars flipping all over the place. This is bigger of a wreck than what we saw at the start of the event. I had about 4 or 5 drivers literally end over end, hard contact on the back straightaway. Big crash right here with 10 laps to go here in Fast Fridays. Wow. I mean, hard contact. John Garrett, one of those that got involved. Looked like he got turned in the middle of the backstretch, got sent into another car, and then basically he was just along for the ride. I mean, wow, that happened so fast. When these cars wreck, they happen absolutely. It's so fast. It's just hard to call it, especially when they're all flipping at one time. You don't know who to call at that point when they're all flipping.
So many drivers involved with that one. Joey Masevich, Michael Davis getting the worst of it that time by. Mark Thrash also going to be on pit road. So take a look at this once again. Shoving it down the back straightaway. That's what kicks it off. And then it's going to be Masevich getting down to that back bumper. They're going to slow down, get checked up. And Masevich is the first one to go with a huge hit. Sends him up and over. Then you'll see other drivers flipping, knocking into one another. It's like a set of dominoes. When they all hit each other, they'll all come falling down real quick, and just like that, in the single digits of laps, 9 to go, and your 7th caution is going to take out a lot of good contenders. Jason Rafe also looks to disconnect. Masevich is going to be on pit road. Michael Davis, William Salamone, also recent retirees, and just like that, we're down to about 10 drivers on the lead lap this time by as Mark Thrash calls it a night as well. The field has been whittled down to those who have survived, and survival of the fittest. There's a few more up to come down to pit road. It's a very small group that's left, still fighting for the victory.
And all of this really started when John Garrett was stuck in the middle and Michael Wiley tried to get up behind him, tried to give him a shove. Brummett and Masevich, they were already on the top side trying to make a move to jump to the lead. And then Wiley just basically got on the back bumper, and Garrett never left him. And then they had got us such a huge run. They got us such a huge run when they got up to the back of Masevich that basically Garrett had to get out of the gas. Wiley wasn't able to get out of the gas as quick enough. Straight up left hooked him straight into, I believe that was Andrew Thompson, I believe was one of the drivers that got involved in it. I believe it was, might have been Michael Davis, I believe it was. But wow, I mean, just that's how it is. And that's what you got right there, folks. With 8 laps to go right now, Kyle Brummett leads here at Daytona. Going to have Benjamin Masser, looks like he's going to be on the top side. Bob Kern, Aaron Shiflett be in that second row. Andrew Thompson, I believe it was Michael Davis that he ended up getting into. So Thompson, good job for him to be able to avoid it. And great drive for him starting in 25th to come all the way up to the top 5. Jonathan Platt up here in 6th. John Garrett, he was lucky enough. He had a fast repair, so he was able to go down, get his car fixed, get back out here. Garrett will be 7th. Leon Keniston will be 8th. Michael Wiley, oddly enough, will be right behind Mr. Garrett, I believe, by the timing and scoring. And Jeffrey Maconi, he will be up here as well. So a couple of guys starting to jump back into the picture. As what you see is basically what you get right here, folks. This is what you got right here. About 10 cars left here at Fast Fridays to duke it out for the last 7 minutes or 7 laps come to be it. But wow, it has been an absolute barn burner. We've seen it all here at Daytona tonight. But now we got to see if we can crown a winner and crown a winner for Fast Fridays. And Kyle Brummett on that front row, Benjamin Masser. I believe neither one of these guys have won a Fast Fridays event. But here we go. Pace car's off. Kyle Brummett gets a very good restart. Masser trying to see if he can jump down in line behind Brummett. He will. Bob Kern, not a good restart. Garrett's back here spinning. We got a big pileup once again. Cars flipping end over end once again. And another caution happening right here at the start right here as we're still up against that time frame. And David, I think now we're racing against the clock. We got to be racing against the clock now.
Aaron Shiflett, as you mentioned, also John Garrett you saw a piece of, and there's no chance right now with another yellow or two that we'll make it to the end. Looking at our timing estimates, the remainder of the race under green would take about 6 minutes. We're going to fall under that 6-minute radar before we're done with this yellow flag cycle. Take a look at it once again, as you mentioned. The yellow flag gets going for now the 8th time. John Garrett, contact with the back bumper. You're going to see sparks beginning to fly, and you'll see Aaron Shiflett also get involved. Up and over, immediately flying into the air, and that contact is going to bring out the yellow flag as soon as we leave it. Just a few hundred feet after the caution flies, you'll see another driver going around. The iRacing pace car goes slamming through, and luckily no real contact after that, but still big trouble as we're approaching the final minutes of this race. Looking at our timing estimates, it's going to be neck and neck laps compared to our time. So here with a 55-minute race session dedicated to all the driving, 40 laps was not by any means a troublesome margin to make it to, but with so many cautions already coming out and the chance of even hitting 9 or 10 yellows, we might not be able to, after all, to find a winner under green. Kyle Brummett now leads over Benjamin Mazur and Bob Kern. Andrew Thompson is still going, and Michael Wiley rounds out the top 5. Leon Keniston going to be 6th, John Garrett 7th, and Jeff Maconi going to be 8th, with Aaron Shiflett and Jonathan Platt, your only 10 drivers on the lead lap. I'd like to preface the remainder of the race with saying this: with so little time remaining and the chance that we're going to break out through with only a few minutes left, maybe not enough to finish the whole race, I feel that we're going to have ourselves a much dicier final few laps, because now aggression's going to ramp up. Every move will mean that much more, and you'll have an increased chance at winning by making that risky move and getting away with it. So some drivers are going to push their luck a bit further, knowing if you get through and have a little bit of luck to get by the big one, you might not find yourself in the wrecker. You'll find yourself in victory lane when all is said and done. Coming through turns 1 and 2, this time by Jacob. We're at lap 36, heading next to 37. You think we're going to see one more caution before all is said and done?
I about guarantee it, honestly. I mean, I will honestly guarantee it right now. I think we will probably see another caution because, I mean, it's like you said, David. These guys right here, they're going to be pushing their luck. They've been pushing their luck ever since the start of the race, ever since the first big one happened. You know, we've seen guys that have just straight up pushed their luck 9 ways to Sunday. And it doesn't matter who it is in the field. Everybody's been pushing their luck all race long right here. And folks, to actually correct myself a while ago, that wasn't John Garrett that was flipping end over end. That was Aaron Shiflett. Garrett and Shiflett's cars are damn near identical, to be honest with you. Both their cars look just alike. So, I mean, that was my mess up on that, seeing from how it was. But, you know, John Garrett, he'll be in 6th. He's been able to, you know, shift past some of the accidents that have been going on. But, David, it's gonna be a nail biter to the end. But to answer your question, I think this is gonna be aggressive at its peak right here, because they know they're racing up against the clock. They know they're racing up against the laps. Whichever one comes first, it's game on right here. I mean, you can't lift at this point. You have got to go for everything you got to try to win this race. And Kyle Brummett, he's going to be in sole possession of that lead. I'd hate to be Kyle Brummett at this point, because everybody's going to be gunning for him right now, especially like Benjamin Masser on the top as we got a green flag. Brummett, not a good restart. Masser on the top. Bob Kerr nowhere able to help and try to give the shove to Brummett. But here comes Thompson up on the top side, and here comes John Garrett. 3 cars, all of them up top. Now Wiley jumps up top. He's going to try to jump up here, maybe try to help this outside lane as best as he can. Here comes Jeffrey Maconi down on the bottom. Which lane will he choose? Which line will he pick? As we got a guy coming off of pit road trying to merge up into traffic as well. Masevich getting caught up in this as well. Everybody's shoving for everything they got going down the back stretch.
And time is of the essence right now. 2 minutes flat on the timing screen. You'll see drivers down to the apron using it at a racing line. Going to be Aaron Shiflett working with Joey Masevich right there. Not to mention you got guys like Michael Wiley, Kyle Brummett, and John Garrett still there. Coming through this time, buying. It's going to be real close to make it to the end. This will be lap number 38, and we've still got 3 laps to go at the stripe. Looking now for the back bumper, Aaron Thompson, and it's going to be Andrew Thompson working through. One man to the wall. They wiggle, but do they wreck? No, they'll keep on going. Contact going to be made once again, and now the apron is the preferred line. Jeff Maconi takes it a little race lead using the bottom of the track, and how about that? Now the low side going to be the preferred groove, and all night long, no driver dared to take it down low, no baking. But even though there's 31 degrees up top, it worked out for Maconi, but briefly as he fades back. Once again, 1 minute and 14 seconds remain. John Garrett up in front, and this could be it as Michael Wiley finds himself second, pushing the number 66. The final run here and now as they come down to the front straightaway once again for lap number 39 in the World Center of Racing.
They were damn near 5 wide on the backstretch. Maconi, Masevich, and a lot of others. As here we go, John Garrett still has the lead. Andrew Thompson, he looks high, tries to get something going. Brummett goes all the way down. They are using the apron, as David was saying, going for every little bit that they got. 3 wide, 2 down on the apron, 1 up top. Here comes Leon Keniston. He's going to get a run up on the top side. He's going to try to find a way. Garrett still leads. Michael Wiley in tow. Keniston right behind him. Here comes Jeffrey Maconi. No help at all up on that top side. Thompson, he's going to go down to the bottom. He's going to try to use the apron, see if he can find some grip down there. Garrett still using the preferred line, if you will, right above the yellow line. Thompson thinks different of it. He jumps up, blocks Maconi. Right behind him, Brummett gets stuck as well as we are coming to the white flag. Here we go. Looks like it's showing for checkers, but for some reason or another, we're still racing here at Daytona. Garrett gets spun. Maconi's going to come away with the lead right here.
And according to timing and scoring, the race might have just ended already, which means that Leon Keniston will be given the win. Timing ends just 2 seconds before drivers get to the line, and as a result, Leon Keniston barely makes it home with the checker. The white flag flew, and it immediately switched
still going.
To the flag. And we got a timing and scoring trouble because drivers are still rolling, but checkered flag is shown on our timing screen. Hits up and down.
Jeffrey Maconi still leads. Brummett right behind him. Got Masevich up here trying to get to the win. Brummett goes all the way down to the bottom. Gets all the way down. Masevich gets in behind Maconi. Big shove right here to the line. And it's going to be Jeffrey Maconi getting the win here at Fast Fridays in the Daytona prototypes at Daytona. What a finish. Wow, this is timing and scoring. I'm trying to figure out exactly what is going on right here, but they kept racing at the end of this thing. Either that or they're still going. I'm not real sure exactly what's going on because they're still driving down the back stretch.
We're trying to figure this out, but it looks like Leon Keniston will technically take the checkered flag, but if this is not the case, it'll be Jeff Maconi. The reason is iRacing, when we were coming down to the start-finish line, flipped from the white flag, lost the amount of time. We have 55 racing minutes set, and it expired just before we hit the start-finish line. So after further confirmation, you see him burning down right now. Leon Keniston is your official winner, and after a hard-fought night, the Riley DP with damage on the front somehow makes it through. And it's a tricky one to call. I mean, pit road, you saw drivers run down to the apron. Timing, we were running out of it. And just the final 2 seconds changed the entirety of the race. Because if it was, of course, we got to that white flag, Jeff Maconi wins. But I think the way things are going, iRacing makes it a picture-perfect moment. Leon Keniston just barely gets it done.
Wow, that is a finish right there that I have never seen right there, folks. But David, I'm with you. Looks like Leon Keniston will get the win by timing and scoring. But I mean, I'm telling you, folks, I'm sorry. They threw me off because they were still racing going down a backstretch when they were going 5 wide out of the tri-oval. But Leon Keniston looks like by timing and scoring, he will get the win. And we'll see if we can drag him in here in a second. Don't look like we can see him in any of the chats. So we'll see if we can bring the boss man in here, Jeffrey Maconi, see if we can bring him in. And Jeff Maconi, this is Jake Reeves. Do you have a copy, buddy?
I do indeed.
Wow, what a race. I'll be honest with you, brother. That was absolutely insane. Every bit of that race. I mean, we was talking up here in the booth. We were seeing y'all still racing coming out of the tri-oval, and we was thinking that y'all was racing for the end. But, I mean, Leon Keniston gets the win. But tell us about the race, Jeff, because I'm telling you, this was an absolute great combination with these cars in this track.
Yeah, this ended up being the fan vote, and so we decided with how crazy it was. I'm sure you saw it under caution. There were like 4 of us that were multiple laps down, and we were just gunning it around trying to get our laps back. So we called it a blitzkrieg lap count. If you could get your lap back, just go ahead and do it. So we were just gunning it around the bottom. It was absolute insanity. It was so much fun. Absolutely great time. I'm glad we got to run it out to the end, even despite all the caution. So very, very, very enjoyable. A lot of fun there.
And Jeff right here with, I mean, bringing it home fifth. I mean, we saw you a couple of laps down and be able to get it back. You talked about that just a second ago, but can you give us maybe a sneak peek of possibly what we may be looking at next week for Fast Fridays? Can it be something this crazy, or can you give us an idea?
I mean, so we do a fan vote on our social medias every week. So every Monday, Tuesday or so, it gets put up. And it's 4 different options every time. And I think one idea that was proposed that I absolutely loved was these cars at Bristol. And that sounds like a great time. So that's going to be one of the options. Probably have maybe like trucks at the Bull Ring, MX5s at Canadian Tire, and I don't know what the fourth option will be. Something along those lines. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, I think.
Absolutely. With Jeff from Maconi getting a top 5 after all the hell that we've seen here this evening and being able to get it done. And Jeff, before we let you go, do you have anybody that you want to thank tonight?
You guys did a great job up in the broadcast booth as always. Maconi Setup Shop, Maconi Entertainment, Maconi Competitive on all those teams that help make all of the things that we do on iRacing possible. Got to thank our partners at eNASCAR and iRacing, Victory Sim, Ron the Snack Guy at Bruzy Racewear, WSMN 1590 AM. Everyone that helps and pitches in, it is so much fun to get to do this every Friday night. So massive thank yous to all of them for making it possible.
Jam forward, Jeff. Fantastic run, fantastic show, and can't wait to see what we're going to get next Friday. Have a good one, buddy.
Absolutely. You as well.
That was Jeff Maconi. We've got a couple of guys in here in the waiting room. David, we'll see if we can bring Joey Masevich up here and let you have a word with him if you want.
And Joey Masevich was after a very hard-fought night here at Daytona. The 64 had a lot of pace, just a bit of trouble at the end to come home 1 lap down in 9th. Led some laps up and down throughout the field all night long, and this number 64 came to win, but it just became a very chaotic night, especially toward the conclusion. So how do you feel wrapping it up here, top 10, with some of the most chaotic racing we've seen in all of Fast Fridays?
Yeah, I'd like to call that a spiritual second. If anything, I think my first mistake was pitting at the beginning, or my first mistake was trying to push Brayton Laster back to the pits. And my spotter, the iRacing spotter, was reporting nose damage, and I was like, "Oh shoot, I'm leading. I gotta fix this." So I went to fix it. Found out, got all 1.3 seconds of nose damage fixed, and I probably should have just stayed out and kept leading the race, stayed out of the chaos. But oh boy, that was fun. It was like super restrictor plate racing.
And we saw a lot of the tendencies of restrictor plate race tonight. High speeds, huge wrecks, and a lot of drivers pushing big with these Riley DPs. You can really get under another driver and just keep going. How was it beginning to understand how the car feels and keep it moving in the heat of the competition?
Oh, well, they're a lot faster they're a good bit faster in a pack than you can get in just a couple cars in practice. But we found out early in practice that 2 cars hooked up, second car doesn't have to lift. You just keep pushing. The temps are going to go up. It's not going to crack. You get a third car going. You get a 3-car tandem. Third car is going to get even hotter. None of the 3 of them are going to crack. As soon as you add a 4th car and you maintain that for more than a lap, that's the 4th car is going to blow up at that point. But I'm pretty sure you could go 6 cars deep with a coordinated enough group and just keep pushing and going faster and faster. It's nuts.
Fantastic racing all throughout. I'll tell you this much, Jeff was talking to us just a few moments ago, maybe bring these cars back at a different circuit like Bristol Motor Speedway. How would you feel if we keep these Daytona prototypes in the lineup here for Fast Fridays?
Oh boy. Well, they're fun. I'll definitely give you that. Bringing them to Bristol. So we learned that these things can push like nothing else. I bet they could push at Bristol as well. But my biggest fear is corner-to-corner contact when you get the wheels jumping over each other, because I'm sure I didn't see how many of the cautions started, but I'm willing to bet that was some of them. And Bristol's, well, I guess there's one way to find out, but it feels a little too close quarters to me.
And no close quarters here. One of NASCAR's biggest tracks, the Daytona International Speedway, takes on with the prototypes. And Joey Savage, a ninth place run for you. Anything else you'd like to wrap off with after a successful night here at the World Center of Racing?
Just thank you to you guys in the booth, doing a great job as always. Jeff Maconi, Maconi Setup Shop, Maconi Entertainment for putting all this together. Kyle Brummett for being a good third car, and John Garrett for being a good sport. And Brayton Laster for just kind of dropping in as he randomly does.
And there we have it, a ninth place run for Joey Savage coming through in the number 64. And we got a few guys from our podium set up, and I'll bring it back with Jacob as we'll bring in our third place finisher in John Garrett. The number 66 stands by with Jacob for our third place interview on the night.
Yeah, John Garrett, this is Jake Reeves, and but I mean we've talked about it on the broadcast of you being in the ARCA series. This has got to be way different right here from an ARCA car because I mean it seemed like it was a hell of a race from your standpoint. I mean, tell us about it, bud.
Yeah, I thought I had a pretty good race going until, I don't know, 10 or so to go, and I was getting a good push up the middle and kind of like halfway got blocked up front, and wasn't much I could do about it, so I got a wreck. But yeah, these cars are fun to drive. Weirdly, I was just telling Jeff in the other channel that it weirdly felt like ARCA real life this year at Daytona. You had to have help to get runs. I mean, we'd go a little faster than these, but the aero, all that stuff felt the same. And we were like 3 wide the whole time in real life at Daytona. So this was, it felt super close, weirdly.
So you're saying that somewhat, or you're saying that somewhat you possibly had a little bit of advantage, I guess, over the other cars. That's basically what you're saying.
Oh, maybe a little bit. I kind of knew how to work the air some, but every time I'd come out of turn 4 and I was in the middle, I'd get the same feeling I had at Daytona this year. I was in the middle coming out of turn 4, coming to the checker, running 8th, and got spun out. So I was having flashbacks the whole race.
Having flashbacks. And John, you know, we just talked about it with, you know, some of the ARCA stuff that you've been doing. For the viewers at home that want to find out more about you in the ARCA series, where can they go and find out more about you?
Yeah, crazy enough, you can go on Google and Google John Garrett ARCA, and I pop up. That's crazy, you know. like a year ago, you do that, you know, who's John Garrett? But I've got my own Wikipedia and all that cool stuff. Somebody made it. I don't know how that stuff works, but yeah, I'm on most of the socials. I can't say all. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or X, whatever you want to call it these days. You know, I'm 53 years old, so I still use the old name. But yeah, you can find me on there. You know, we finished 5th in points this year on the national schedule, which was pretty cool. So we get to go to the banquet in Nashville towards the end of November, and you know, before you know it, Daytona will be here again. We're looking for help for that deal. So if anybody listening is interested, that would be great if they could jump on board there.
Absolutely. Anybody that can help out John Garrett. He will take all that he can get. But John Garrett,
pennies, dollars, it don't matter.
Stacking the dollars, stacking the dimes. That's the way I look at it. But John Garrett getting third here tonight. And John, before we let you go, if you got anybody that you want to thank that made this possible.
Yeah, I want to thank Jeff and Maconi and all you guys for putting this thing on. It's always fun to come race with some quality guys and have it broadcast on your channel. And as always, got to thank Fort Worth Screen Printing for helping me along, fulfilling my dreams here.
Well, John Garrett gets third tonight, puts on a great show. And John Garrett, hopefully we'll see you in the coming weeks for maybe another Fast Fridays run.
Yep, 10-4. Appreciate it.
And that was John Garrett. And looks like we're going to get a couple more guys in here and see if we can bring in Michael Wiley. And David, I believe, is wanting to talk to Mr. Wiley.
And our second place driver with us after a hard fought night here at Daytona. 97 thousandths of a second, the gap between you and Leon Keniston. But overall, a successful run at Daytona and a thriller with a time limit as well. So with all that, how do you feel reflecting upon a night with the Daytona prototypes here at the World Center of Racing?
Man, I'll tell you what, I thought I won that race. I went across the stripe and I was all excited. And then I switched over to the leaderboard and seen that I lost it by 9/100ths of a second. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, these cars are a lot of fun here. They're so forgiving, pushing each other. You can hit somebody in the corner in the rear end and they don't get all squiggly or nothing. They just keep on going. These cars are awesome.
And these cars, we have seen a lot of great racing for them in only 40 laps. Not as much green flag as we'd like to see, but you were one of the guys who kept it up there, fighting all the way to the wire, and a lot of success doing so all throughout. So with that being said, what was it like understanding how these drivers work it? As you see, a lot of learning in just about an hour's time.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, all the cautions. I wish we could have got a lot more green flag laps in. I'd like to re-rack that and redo it with a little bit better people, honestly. Uh, I hate it for John. Me and him I seen him in the middle coming out of two, and I jumped up there with him going down the backstretch. And before I got behind him, I didn't see anybody in front of him. Of course, when you're pushing right on the bumper of somebody, you can't see past them. So the way I understand it, it looks like somebody come down in front of him, and I had no idea, and it wadded us all up. But fortunately, that was about the only wreck I was caught up in. But yeah, these cars are a lot of fun.
And a fantastic run overall here at Daytona and coming through the podium finish and, of course, coming here to take the interview. So what's it like for you in terms of your Fast Friday schedule? We expect to see you anymore competing for race victories and podiums?
I usually work on Friday. This is a rare Friday that I have off. The last Fast Friday I was able to do was the street stocks at Darlington. That was a lot of fun too. I did really well there. So I don't get to do these very often, but anytime I see them, I definitely jump in because Jeff is a really good host and you guys are awesome broadcasters. You guys help keep the energy up, keep everybody excited. So I love these races.
And a fantastic run to bring a lot more to the table here. Michael Wiley, second place finish from Daytona, second place on the podium here, and a fantastic 40 lap event. Thank you for your time.
Hey, I'll take it. Thank you guys.
Just like that, your top three podium interviews mostly out the way. Leon Keniston, unfortunately not able to take an interview with us. With that being said, before we get through to our final thoughts, let's go through our race results to see how it all went down here in Daytona. The International Speedway comes through with a 40-lap thriller. At the end of the day, Leon Keniston gets it done on a photo finish over Michael Wiley in second, and John Garrett down to third. Andrew Thompson's going to be fourth with Jeff Maconi in fifth. Kyle Bremmett comes home sixth, and Aaron Shiflett's going to be seventh with Bob Kern, the final man on the lead lap, position number 8. From there, it's going to be Joey Misevich ninth, and then Benjamin Mazur 10th place in the 28th.
And then 11th is going to be Jonathan Platt. We're going to have Jason Riff. He will be in 12th. Robert Johnson, 8 laps down. He will be 13th. Michael Davis be 14th. Mark Thrash, we saw him basically just eating up the top line, trying to get that top lane rolling. He will finish 9 laps down in 15th. Got William Solomon. I'm sorry, I probably pronounced that one wrong, but he's 16th. Gavin McCool will be 17th. Ron Harrington, 18th. Lewis Russey will be 19th. And Jeremiah Forbes rounds out the top 20.
Your 21st place driver going to be Matt Hale with Jordan Babinger 22nd, Brayton Laster 23rd, and Sean Conklin position number 24. From there, going to be Colin Barnett 25th, Ronald Sherrier is going to be in 26th, and it's going to be Colby Finley 27th, Brandon Solis in 28th, and Justin Yee 29th, with Kerry Posado 30th of the 30 driver field. And it looks like a few other drivers who disconnected before the race got going. You'll see it's going to be P. Avajon, Scott Travis, and a few others, but for the most part, those guys did not participate in this event. However, of those who came through, it was a fantastic field. And with all said and done, Jacob, before we wrap this one off, how do you feel reflecting on the night here at Daytona?
I want to see some more of this kind of racing right here, David, to be honest with you. I mean, I know folks may be looking at it and going, wow, that was just a straight up wreck fest. But, I mean, you basically got everything that you want. You know, we talked to John Garrett about that just a second ago. He said it basically felt like the ARCA cars that he drove here at this particular racetrack here at Daytona. It felt just like those cars, to be able to get those runs and be able to get somebody to be able to push you. Basically, it was the same thing. So, I mean, you had everything that you wanted. You had wrecks, you had 3 wide, hell, you even had 5 wide at one point when they was going down the backstretch all the way down to the apron. So, I mean, they basically had everything that you could ask for right here in the race, and even a close finish to boot. I mean, it was absolutely a fantastic finish all the way through. But folks, I believe that's going to wrap it up for this evening. We'd like to thank our tonight's race sponsors, Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Competitive Zone. Calling the action tonight was myself, Jake Reeves, alongside David Cruitz in the booth with Christian Hill producing. Thank you to all of our viewers for watching tonight's racing action, and hope you will stay tuned to all of our social media pages for our next Fast Fridays race. And don't forget to tune in on us every Monday night for the C Fixed Truck Series. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you at the checkered flag.